Live. Skip Bayless coming to you very live. I think I'm still alive after I watched that madness in Pittsburgh. Jacksonville survived the onslaught of Big Ben being allowed by the Jacksonville defense to just basically play backyard football. And there were 4 or 5 times I didn't think Jacksonville was going to hang on. And they did. And I'm about to discuss how they pulled it off and what it will mean for them as they go to Foxborough to face the greatest quarterback in the history of football, Tom Brady, next Sunday. Some thoughts on this one. On Undisputed, and you can see us live, and we are on live tomorrow. No holiday for us. We are live tomorrow from 9:30 to noon Eastern Time. As always, me versus Shannon Sharp, with several guest commentators. I'm not sure exactly what the parade of commentators will be tomorrow, but I remember on Friday, Greg Jennings on Undisputed called Blake Bortles trash. I said, "Are you calling him trash?" He said, "Yeah, he's trash." And all week long on Undisputed, I said, wait a second. I'm not saying I'm the biggest Blake Bortles fan. I'm just saying he's not garbage. He's not trash. He's not a punchline. He had a QBR for the season at scale of 0 to 100, ranks your whole quarterback performance, both running and throwing. His QBR was 56, which is a little above average, and it was better than Mariota and Kirk Cousins and Eli, and I could go on and on. There are 6 or 8 pretty good quarterbacks who didn't have a QBR as high as Blake Bortles. 21 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. And I kept saying, I am picking Jacksonville to upset the Pittsburgh Steelers because I think Jacksonville's just better than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been a trouble team all year. They've been looking ahead to their rematch with New England for weeks. Mike Tomlin went on record before the New England game in December at Pittsburgh, saying to Tony Dungy on NBC, it's going to come down to us and the Patriots. It's just a matter of whether it's in our house or their house. Obviously, the Patriots won in their house, so it was going to be in Tom Brady's house next Sunday. And they were looking ahead. Mike Mitchell said, we will win the rematch. And, of course, Le'Veon Bell last week was talking about his contract status and what he wants and how he will not play anymore for the franchise tag, and this team just seemed troubled and distracted all year long. I didn't like how it shaped up, but it has lots of weapons. It's a flying circus of weapons, and it has a quarterback who, if you let him play backyard football, he is really good. He is the best in the business at playing backyard football, and that's what Jacksonville did today. The shock to me was that Jacksonville couldn't get much pressure on Big Ben Roethlisberger. Now, he can shrug off pressure about as well as anybody, but they didn't generate a lot of 4-man rush pressure. And Big Ben Roethlisberger piled up, going on 600 yards of total offense. My goodness, that doesn't bode well when you go up to Tom Brady. I thought Ben just picked him apart. Man, they had almost 600 yards. He had, 460-odd yards passing? That doesn't bode well. So the game came off much differently than I thought. I thought it would be a lower-scoring game in the freezing cold in Pittsburgh. And Jacksonville feasted, obviously, off early play by Blake Bortles. Remember, Blake Bortles today went 8 of 14 on third down. Wow, 8 of 14? Blake Bortles threw for 214 yards and made a bunch of clutch fourth-quarter throws, one on a huge 3rd and 7, and then the sweet call by Nathaniel Hackett, my friend is Paul Hackett. It's his son. I knew Nathaniel when he was like 5, and Nathaniel made a sweet call, hitting the fullback out of the I formation, the lead blocker, Bohannon, who was just wide open in the end zone. But you got to hit him, and Blake Bortles hit him for what looked like the clinching touchdown. But on Undisputed, I said it's going to come down to a Josh Lambo field goal from 45 yards in maybe the toughest place to kick field goals. He nailed it right down Broadway, and that was the end of the Pittsburgh Steelers because I knew they were going to come back and score another touchdown. So what was the final score? 45-41. Who could have ever imagined? Did you have the over in that one? Hope you did, because that would be over fast, right? But again, Ben is turnover prone, and the 2 early touchdowns put them behind the sticks, as they say, where there was the interception and then there was the fumble that got returned for a touchdown. And that was the difference. Once you're playing behind, psychological sticks, once you're behind because you gave up 6 points when you had the ball and you let their defense score 6, that became the difference in this game all day long. Pittsburgh's defense, obviously without Ryan Shazier, has not been very good all year. So it didn't surprise me that Leonard Fournette was able to run pretty wild in the first half. It also didn't surprise me he got nicked again. That's what I said going into the draft. He's just fragile. He's fragile physically and he's fragile psychologically. And I'm sure they were not happy that he appeared. I couldn't even see the ankle turn, but he just was tweaked, and I don't know if I can go. I got to go to the locker room. Baloney, you do. And then he came back and he was just fine. Maybe he had to take an injection. I have no idea. But it didn't look like he was that hurt. You got to suck it up. This is it, man. This is your shot. This is to get to the AFC Championship game in Foxborough. And he came back to his credit. Didn't run quite as well in the second half. Was starting to tiptoe a little bit. Boy, TJ Yeldon came up big too, but the biggest on offense was Blake Bortles. He made a bunch of clutch throws. He's not great, but he's good enough to beat a troubled, reeling Pittsburgh team that basically is just all about Big Ben playing backyard football. They're going to have to just outscore you because they can't stop anybody in defense. They haven't really all year. Tom Brady picked them to pieces in Pittsburgh. So now I said on Facebook Live last night, I was more afraid of Jacksonville going to Foxborough, again, I'm a Brady fan, than I was of Pittsburgh going to Foxborough, even though you could make a case, well, one of these times Pittsburgh's just going to figure out how to break through, just law of averages. Tom Brady's 11-2 lifetime against Pittsburgh. Well, but I said New England doesn't know Jacksonville, and Jacksonville, I thought, had a hellacious pass rush. They're called Saxonville. I don't know about the hellacious pass rush. I didn't see it today. I didn't see it consistently. I didn't say, oh my God, Tom, you're in for it now. I didn't say that at all. In fact, with Big Ben and company putting up 41 and, going on, almost 600, going on 600 yards of total offense, now I like Brady's chances a whole lot more. Now I think this is a pretty good matchup because you got a young team, maybe a little happy to be there, a team that didn't tackle all that well today, got away with 2 big pass interferences that should have been called, one on a 4th down and one on the deep throw that should have been called late in the game. But I don't know. They just couldn't stop Roethlisberger at all. They couldn't get pressure. They couldn't cover. I don't know. I sort of like it now because now it's Jacksonville just happy to be there. And now there's no incentive of a team disrespecting Blake Bortles or Jacksonville's chances. There's nobody saying, we want so-and-so instead of Jacksonville. Well, that's over. So all the incentive, all the confidence of having gone to Pittsburgh and won 30-9 earlier this year is gone. There's no history here between these teams. It's just a young team, a